Welcome to Sit Downs with City Lifestyle Vegas Edition. I'm Camilla Durand, your host, and today we have a very special guest with us. For all of you who don't know, City Lifestyle is very involved with nonprofits in our community, helping them gain awareness and raise funds for causes. And we are currently raising funds for the LLS, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And we have a campaign going on, Visionary of the Year, and Chad Jeffrey, our former publisher for South Vegas, is the face of that campaign here in Vegas. So we have brought Miss Ashley here to talk about her journey with cancer and LLS. Welcome, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really, really delighted to be here.
It's a pleasure having you here and an honor. And I understand that you are a true survivor of this journey. Do you mind telling us, before we dive into the journey, what your position is here in society, in the community in Las Vegas? Like, what do you do? Where do you work? And so on and so forth.
Absolutely. So I've been in Vegas now almost 20 years, originally from Michigan. I work for MGM Resorts International. I'm the executive director of public relations. We get to promote all the amazing amenities within our 13 properties on the Strip. So all the great shows and restaurants and spa treatments and all the fun stuff that you read about or see on TV or on TikTok or whatever platform you engage news on. Our team gets to share all of that fun information. So I love it. I've been there. I'm on my 15th year.
Wow.
Yes. So definitely is a love for sure for what I do. So that's
it sounds like a fun job.
It's so fun. Yeah. Like, I sometimes just pinch myself going, I can't believe I get to do this every day. But someone has to do it. But we have an incredible team that just loves what they do and are super passionate. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that snippet of what you do.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what happened in 2020 with you.
Yes. So 2020, of course, a year of the pandemic. I know that will...
The best year of our lives.
Exactly. Right? No one will ever forget it. Everybody was working from home, and we were getting ready to reopen some of the major properties on the Strip. And I remember specifically the one that we were getting ready to open right when this was happening to me was the Mirage. And I called my boss the week before, and I was just telling her, I'm like, something is just not feeling right within me. Like, I'm having a hard time just doing daily functions. And I mean, even just going to wash the dishes or do laundry. I mean, I could hardly walk or breathe right. And we were getting ready to open the Mirage, and we all had to be there, of course. And I said, I'm not feeling right. I got to go in to see a doctor. Like, what is going on?
And did you have COVID?
I did prior to this. Yes,
so
this was in March.
Kind of similar?
They were kind of similar. And so I got diagnosed with COVID right in March when the world kind of shut down. And so then I'm still now having similar symptoms. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to be the only person on the planet to have COVID twice.
Right.
Like, what? And it was still during that time where information wasn't readily available. People are trying to figure out what exactly is COVID. But I was like, something is definitely wrong. And so went to urgent care and could hardly even make it through the door. I mean, I remember just sitting in that room. The world was spinning. I'm just explaining all the symptoms. And they said, well, we're going to test you for COVID again, but we don't think that's what it is. You may just have a really bad cold. And I was like, it did not feel like a really bad cold to me. This was something way more. So I went back home and told my boss again, I can't really even move at this point. And it was that evening that I passed out just completely. And that is definitely not me. I am so active and I mean, just not only job-wise, but just physically with going to the gym and meeting with friends. And I just live a very active lifestyle. So for me to be down in this way was very odd.
And were you living by yourself back then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I was by myself.
That must have been scary.
Very scary. And it was getting chills and then getting super hot and trying to sit in the bathtub and get any type of sense back because I just felt like I'm like losing myself. I'm like, what is going on? And so I called my boyfriend and I said, we got to go to the emergency room. Like something is wrong here. This is not an urgent care visit anymore. So he drove me to Sunrise and they took me in immediately because I mean, it was also a temperature as well. I mean, I was sitting at like 104 for a couple days at this point, and like it was not going down. So they instantly take me in. They start doing blood work, and 2 of these nurses came in and they said, we're calling the oncologist to come in to look at this. And again, I'm just sitting there like I'm not feeling well at all. So I'm not really taking it in as much. But I just but when they said oncologist, I just remember that word in my head, like, why are they having the oncologist come in? And so the oncologist was actually off that day because this was a Sunday. And he came in, and I was just sitting kind of right how I am now, and he was to the right of me, and he was like on the computer looking up all the different blood numbers that they were running. And he turned to me, and he's like, you have leukemia.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. And so they say, like, you know, there's times in life where, you know, things can change in an instant. And like that was one of them for sure. That was absolutely not what I was prepared to hear at all. I was in shock. I was in denial. I'm like, there's no way. Like, how could I have leukemia?
Right.
I'm super fit. I eat healthy. I'm like active. I'm 36 years old. Like that was also too, anytime I've ever heard of leukemia prior to, it was either young children that have had it or like older adults. Like I've never heard of anyone in my age range having leukemia. And so from that moment, it was like it was so bad to that point. Like it was like instant action had to happen. And so I had to leave my boyfriend because this was also at the period of the pandemic. Like you weren't allowed to come inside any of the hospitals. So I was so scared. I mean, I'm crying. I had to call my mom who lives in Michigan. I'm an only child. And so having to call her and tell her like, I have leukemia. I don't know what's happening next, Mom, because I didn't. I had no idea what we were doing. And so we had to, from that point in the emergency room, they took me right up to ICU, and I had to lay on these like ice bags for 2 days to get the temperature down because they could not get it to go down. And I just remember it almost looked like those spacesuit type people that were coming in because, again, pandemic, and like with the big shields on and like the big backpack on, and they're just, you know, it almost felt like I was like an alien, you know, that they're touching. And like lymph nodes were so swollen. I mean, I couldn't swallow at all. So finally they got the temperature down. And then from there, it was going down to the adult oncology unit to start the induction chemotherapy. And at this point, like, everything is starting to happen now, like rashes everywhere. I mean, it was just, I was covered just everywhere. They had to install a port in me to get the chemotherapy started. Well, in the process of that, it got infected. So then they had to like take it out because I had nothing. It was a foreign object in my body. And my body's like, what is this? Right. So then we had to go and find like another route to put like a pick in my arm. And so there's like all these different people coming in and out, in and out. So I spent 36 days that first round. And it was terrifying. I mean, I didn't even really know what this process was. You're trying to learn as this is happening. It's so overwhelming, and I'm by myself.
For sure.
You know, doctors and nurses are coming in kind of saying encyclopedic type information to you. And so I had this notebook that I just like started writing things down because after they would say something, I would then like Google it, or then the nurse would come in and I'd be like, could you explain to me like what that meant or like what we're doing now? So I did that first like 36 days, and then it had to be like ongoing chemo to try to kill this cancer that was just going crazy.
How long was the chemo for?
Every time I went, it was around 30 days. So it was like, it would be a week, like 5 days straight of the chemo. Okay. And then it was like monitoring for 3 weeks because it just completely killed everything. And I had no immunity whatsoever to fight anything off. So on top of like the pandemic and all of that happening, as part of the treatment, you also had to stay isolated as well because you could not have one thing touch you because that could take you out. And I actually did almost get taken out, and this was on my very last chemo treatment. So I was going like every other month to Sunrise, and this was in June. It was like my final treatment.
How many rounds did you have?
It was October. I think it was seven different rounds.
So
yes.
7 months of treatment.
Correct. Yep. And this final treatment, my body was so depleted. I mean, it's just, there was like hardly nothing to give.
Yeah, it's super violent.
It's really, really intense, and it makes you sick, and some days you can just lay there. That's just like all you can do. And this very last treatment, I actually developed sepsis, which I thought at that point that was going to be the end for me for sure, because on top of the intense treatment, they had to then take me back up to ICU. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move at all. My heart was beating absolutely out of control. It was like just sitting there, honestly, waiting to die. I thought that's truly was it. I was like, oh my God, it's not going to even be the cancer that's taking me out. It's the sepsis because my body has nothing to fight this off. So it was truly, I'm religious. I was praying to God in that moment, and he got me through that, which was an absolute miracle. And I had to then, after that, go see like heart doctors, lung doctors, all the different body parts that were affected because of this. They said because I did take good care of myself prior to, even though, yes, I had the cancer, my heart was strong to be able to sustain that. So I'm very blessed that I made it through that. So I made it through that final treatment, and then it was, okay, what do we do from here? Because I made it into remission, and it's like, okay, awesome, this is great. I went to City of Hope in Duarte, California, because even though I was going through the treatments at Sunrise, there was a conversation about getting a stem cell transplant.
Even though you were in remission?
Even though, yes, because in the specific leukemia that I had, there was a determination on should we just continue high-dose chemo with her, or will the cancer come back? There was like not sure based on the specific, what's the word I want to say? The word's blanking me.
So while you think of the word, I have a question.
Sure.
Are there stages of leukemia? Like, you know, you have stage 4 breast cancer, stage 3 lung cancer. You know, I had thyroid cancer, and I caught it like right in the beginning. So I was like stage 1. So is there the same for leukemia? There
is not stages. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because that was something that was very hard for my mom to really understand, because she was like, would always ask me, well, like, what stage are you in right now? Or like, what stage is this going to be? And there's not. It just kind of does what it wants to do. And your care plan and who you're working with on your oncology team determines what like next stages will be. If you like, you need to get a higher dose chemo, or like in my case, having to get a stem cell transplant because the cancer did come back.
How long after you were in remission did it come back?
It was a little over a year.
And how did you find out that it came back?
I was participating in a gym challenge, and I was like going really hard and thinking, oh, like, you know, I'm just worn out because of that. Now, even though I hit remission, I still had to go see my oncologist every like 4 to 6 weeks to get tested, because they want to see, will it come back? Will it come back? When it did come back, I understood now why you have to keep getting the testing, because I kind of wondered, oh, you know, is this going to be ending anytime soon, or I have to do this like forever? And they said, no, it's going to be for a while until we feel comfortable with where like your numbers are at. And I was like, okay. And that's the thing too, like with leukemia, I mean, it can take weeks for numbers to move.
For sure.
Like there'd be times where, I mean, I'd be sitting even in like the hospital, like at 0.1 with I mean, that's like nothing. And, it can be challenging where you're like, when will this ever spike up? When will it do it? Can't they give you something to like have it spark up? There's a shot called Neupogen that they can give you, but it's really like temporary. It's kind of almost, I kind of think of it like a booster. Yes.
Yeah, like a Band-Aid.
Where it helps for a little and then it'll just go back to what
it's not
what
our
it does.
natural bodies reacting and getting your levels up. It's really just a temporary fix.
Exactly. So, and I did all those. I mean, there were periods I was doing them for like a week straight, or like, let's try it for like 3 days in a row, and it would happen for a little and then just go back. But so after the gym challenge I had. 2 weeks later, I had this checkup with the oncologist. Here's like a normal, just random, checkup that we had to do. And I'm thinking nothing of it. I'm tired because of this challenge, but that's fine. And so I go in, we do the test, and my oncologist is like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." I go, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I go, I did this challenge. I actually won, so I'm very happy about this. But he's like, no, he's like, we did the leukemia and lymphoma panel, and it's showing that leukemia is back.
Wow.
And of course, instantly in my head, it's like,
stars.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No. I was 100% in denial. I had them rerun it again because I was like, there's no way that this has come back.
Yeah.
Like, no, and no. And
I can't imagine what you felt like.
it was after going through like that first, year, I'll say, of it, and by myself, the intensity of it all, getting to remission, getting through sepsis. I'm like, I felt like so good. I even had, prior to this, in May, I had like this like cancer party where I was like, my girlfriends from Michigan flew out. That's where I'm originally from. And it was like, oh, congratulatory, like I beat it. This is so great. And then here we are again, that it came back.
So how long between the remission and it coming back? How long was that gap?
So that was July 2021, and then it was in November of 2022 when I found out that
over a year.
Over a year,
Wow,
yes.
And
Which is crazy because, I mean, even during that time, as I was like starting to live life again and like get back to kind of like the swing of things.
Your rhythm and your work and
everything. I was feeling good. I wasn't feeling like, oh, something's wrong again, or nothing was indicating anything until I went this like gym challenge I did, which I thought, again, I'm just tired because I really was pushing my body. But I felt like so good because I was like, Ashley's back. Like, look what I can do.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like, who would have thought a year ago?
I'm on top
of the world.
Yeah.
There was no way I could have ever done this. And like, look at me now. And then, boom. Like,
hits you in the face.
Hits me right in the face. So now I have to go back to City of Hope, and we have to do a bone marrow biopsy where that, like, even though we do the blood work and we're testing all different things, that is like the 100% like, yes, you have leukemia again. And so I booked the appointment there, and they did the biopsy and said, yes, leukemia has come back. So now at this point, we have to do a stem cell transplant because the leukemia is just going to continue returning, and you may not make it. Like, that's really just the honest truth of it.
That's so scary.
And your body cannot endure such high intense chemo for that long. I mean, yes, for certain periods to kill out the cancer and to do what we had to do as part of my care plan, but like long term to go through that is extremely damaging. I mean, to all your organs in your body. And so I'm like, okay, well, what does this all entail now? What do we have to do, at this point? And so I'm an only child, and nobody in my family was a match for me. So what City of Hope had to do was send these kits out to all of my family members, and I'm talking first cousins, second cousins, third cousins, everyone, to see if they were a match, and nobody was a match.
That's incredible.
I know, really interesting. And being an only child too, like usually a sibling would be like the automatic match.
Right.
And I don't have one, so there was no one there. both my parents were much older. And so when you're looking for a match, you want to have somebody in the like 18 to 22-ish range, because that has the best likelihood of younger stem cells being accepted into your body. So now we were going to the Be the Match program, which they now are called NMDP, National Marrow Donor Program. I'm actually a volunteer for them as well, because I got so involved in having to understand all of that. So I work with them as well. And that basically what it is it's just a huge pot that everybody who wants to can swab their mouth, and they put it into this database, and doctors and hospitals from all over the world can look and see if there is a match for their patient. So we started that in December of 2022. And during this time, I have to still get chemo because the cancer, you gotta fight it now. I mean, we have to. So I'm going to do this now outpatient at Las Vegas Cancer Center here in Las Vegas. And it was just every time thinking, okay, when is this going to happen? Will it happen? There is no definitive timeline that they give you. There is no guarantee that they're going to find anybody for you. And so it was just, okay, I'm going to keep on doing chemo and we'll see. And the ironic thing is when I got the call, I was doing chemo at Las Vegas Cancer Center. And it was really weird because when I got the call, it was just like a random, it was like 1 o'clock, like randomly, and it was, oh, the oncologist wants to speak to you. Well, in my head, I don't know if this is like, did they found someone? Did they find something? Right, exactly. Did they find like something else? Because that's a whole nother conversation you have to have as you're going through this is secondary cancers that come up. Even though you're fighting the leukemia, because of the intensity of the chemotherapy, it can cause other cancers. So I'm like, I don't know at this point. So I'm like, okay, whenever they're available, like I'm ready. And so I'm sitting there like getting chemo. I'm in the room. There's like 8 other people in there with me. We're all in our chairs doing, our treatment. And I get on the phone and my oncologist is like, we found the match. And I mean, I was in shock. I started crying. Like it was so, oh my God, like this is my second chance at life. Like this is,
oh my God, I had goosebumps all over.
It was unbelievable. So I'm crying, and then I'm telling everybody else like what's going on, and they're crying and happy. And it was just such an amazing moment. So from that, you then have to go through like a whole series of testing where they have to do not only like blood work, but it's like getting on a bike and seeing how you can breathe and just testing your heart, your lungs, everything to see if your body can endure this. Because they do not go through with a stem cell transplant unless it is, 150% like necessary. So even when I got to remission like that first time, because of the different makeup of my chromosomes and the type of leukemia that I had, there was like a 50-50 split in the medical community on if I should go through with a stem cell transplant, because there was not a for sure determination on if the cancer would come back. There was like a split. So unless they felt like 100% like it's coming back, they were not going to have me go through it, because it's so, or anybody in that case, like you have to absolutely need it to save your life, because it's very high risk, very high risk. There are complications that can happen. And this document that I had to fill out of, 100 plus pages, pretty much giving my life away, saying, you're just up for it and what will be, will be. It was scary. I remember reading it.
If you didn't take that risk,
you
wouldn't be here today,
You're absolutely right. Yes. As scared as I was, questioning everything, like you have to. Like I had to take the step into it.
For sure.
And so, October of 2023 was the official time for me, October 19th. I'll never forget it. And it's so wild because I think in my head I was like, thinking it was going to be this like huge moment, which it was. It 100% is, but it's like a simple process as far as like they bring in the stem cell transplants and in a bag and they hook it up to you, and it's like almost like a blood transfusion
like
that's
an
coming
IV
in.
drip.
Correct. Yes.
An IV drip of stem cells.
Yes, of stem
Okay.
cells.
Wow,
And so you're like.
incredible.
And so then it's done. It's like takes like a little over an hour.
Is that why you have great skin?
Maybe. That could be. Thank you.
Just to break the ice a little bit.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. So it was a little over an hour, and so then you're like waiting there, like, okay, what's gonna happen? Like, and they
How
give
long
you all
does did your body, I don't know, I'm ignorant, right?
Yeah,
It's the first time I'm talking to someone who has been through this experience.
Yep.
Because my cancer was like, okay, let's operate, take your thyroid out, you're good to go, get radiation, bye. Right? That
Right.
was my process. It was like bam, bam, boom. It took like 3 months and then I was done. But yours is like ongoing. So
Yes.
after you get the stem cells, how long do you wait for those adverse reactions, if any, to happen?
Yes. So they keep you in the hospital for at least a month.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's policy to, at City of Hope, if you live more than 60 miles away from their campus, you have to stay on site with them because of the seriousness of this, of exactly like what you said, any reverse reactions coming up, which they did for me. So one of the big ones that can come up, and that was a big piece of all the documentation that I had to read about, it's called graft-versus-host disease. And what that is when the stem cells come into your body rejects them.
Oh, wow.
So
you rejected the stem cells.
it happened in my GI tract. And this can happen in a variety of places.
Oh, so it's not like all together. It's in certain parts of your body.
Right. Some people get it in their mouth. Some people get it in their eyes. In different like rashes, it'll come out as.
Okay.
And so then there are specific antibiotics that they have to give you to say, hey, body, these are good. We want you to accept these. Now, for the graft-versus-host in the GI tract, that was extremely challenging because I couldn't process anything. I couldn't eat anything. Nothing was staying in my body. Anytime if I would try to have something, it was like major heartburn. It felt like my chest was closing in, like really painful. And that lasted for like weeks. And so the doctors were like, this is something common. Like, you don't have to be scared of this. We have things for that, which they did. They were giving me different medications to take. Sometimes you just had to allow it to be how it was going to be. Like, it just.
Well, you don't really have a choice.
No.
Yeah.
And it just, you had to allow the body time to like adapt to these cells.
Yeah.
So that was one piece. And that I had to stay longer because of that. That was like a really a big one. And then the second one is there was a virus that was within my body, and it was like in like the chickenpox family that came out during this and was just killing my body. And that one was very, very serious. That one I would say they were almost more concerned about than the graft-versus-host because it was causing everything to almost like shut down. It was like I had to be in the hospital doing transfusions twice a day, and those transfusions were making me so ill. And it's like crazy because it's like you're trying to fight this, but at the same time, what they're
like
giving
you're
you,
getting sicker.
I did, and I kept telling them, and then my body was like rejecting it. We did this specific infusion. There was another medication that they gave me, and my body was just rejecting. And I'm like, what are we supposed to do here? Like, how long does this go on? So, amazingly enough, thank you to God, there was a pill, an 8-week pill that the FDA just approved in October of 2023. And it hadn't been like tested a bunch among people, but it was like really our last
Very
option.
promising.
Yes, it was like super promising. City of Hope was like one of the top hospitals. They're always like cutting edge on, you know, what could be the next greatest thing. They're very focused on research, and they said, we think this could be it. Like, we want you to try it. And so I was like, at that point, I'm like, whatever we need to do. Like, I don't know how much more I can endure this other process.
Yeah.
And so we did that pill, and that's what wound up working.
Oh, that's
amazing.
amazing.
I was
Congrats, Ashley.
that was because
Wow.
that virus piece was like what kept me at City of Hope. Like I
Yeah.
could not go home because of this. And it's like, again, day upon day,
Mm-hmm.
like feeling horrible, nothing's working.
Yeah.
Now my body's rejecting it. And so, so yay,
Wow, girl.
the pill
Kudos
works.
to
So
you. Yeah.
thank
and
you.
You need to have a strong mindset to be able to go
Yes.
through all that.
Definitely.
How did you get involved with LLS?
So when I first got diagnosed in 2020, that was when I had no idea what was going on, and I started Googling in the hospital room resources of like who could help me, who can guide me through this. I mean, it's so much information, even to like not only just for myself, but then for my mother, who's like very upset over this.
Sure.
I need someone for her to be able to talk to.
And she couldn't even come, right?
No,
During
she
the
could not.
pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
She could not come. So I was like, I need resources to like help me understand, help her understand. And so that's really what like kicked it off was they have an amazing information specialist like program that helps with a host of questions you have, from like the patient education and support to advocacy to like research that they're doing with clinical trials. I remember like, especially my mom too, because she is older, she's not like online. Like she needs things printed and like
Yeah.
a booklet. And like they were printing and sending boxes of like resources for her to read through. And then also to like answering questions I had. I mean, cancer is expensive. That was, I mean, as much as I'm going through this too from a physical standpoint, like how are we paying for all of this?
Right.
This is, I mean, blood cancer is one of the top most expensive cancers.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are we doing this? And what does this look like? Or what should I even be expecting? They could help like navigate and walk me through like what I would expect. And it was just incredible to have them as a resource.
Do they provide support groups?
Yes, amazing support groups. And I actually just joined one. This was when I was going through my stem cell transplant too. They have like peer-to-peer support. So like people going through the same type of cancer. So you can like talk through
Relate.
exactly. Yeah, like that was
Yeah.
such a huge piece, being able to relate to somebody that was
Yeah.
going through it. So that was great. They had like writing workshops, like if you wanted to like write out your feelings and like share with everyone. They had caregiver support groups too, like for my mom. So like she could talk to different family members so she didn't feel so isolated or alone, especially being so far away. But also this is so new to her. She didn't know anything about leukemia. But having those type of groups and networks to be able to lean on, and exactly like what you said, I mean, someone that understands what you're going through. As much as, I mean, I have incredible friends and people that were reaching out, it's nothing like talking to somebody that knows exactly what you're going through.
If they haven't walked in your shoes, it's hard to understand, right?
Yes, 1,000%.
What is the difference between leukemia and lymphoma? Do you know?
Lymphoma impacts like your lymphs right here. They are very, very similar though,
okay.
because they're both in the blood cancer world.
Okay.
But it's just the different areas that it impacts.
And leukemia?
Yeah, leukemia is blood cancer
Everywhere.
everywhere.
So lymphoma
Yeah, so
is
much-
just like localized in your lymphs?
It can be, yes, or in different like parts
Or other
in
lymph
the
nodes, okay.
Yes, and it can grow and spread. It's still though very similar to leukemia.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And so what are next steps for you?
I mean, just again, now I'm like living life 2.0 after this.
Yeah.
And just being grateful that I was given a second chance at life. That's a huge thing for me, is gratitude, because I know there's people that are not as lucky. And so with my life, doing something that impacts other people, being involved with LLS, and then be the match and sharing my story so that others will hopefully get involved in some way, whether
Right.
that's through, you know, if it's advocacy, if it's volunteering, if it's any way supporting someone, or maybe it's just even understanding it. Because I think a lot of times just giving like a booklet to someone and say, oh, read through this, it's not as impactful as to maybe like hear it from someone,
sure.
you know, that has gone through it.
Yeah.
So if I can be a vessel in any way to like help share this story and like help others, then that's the gift that God gave me to keep me around.
Yeah, definitely. And share with us a little bit about when we donate money to LLS, where does the money go?
Oh my gosh, that's what I have to say about LLS is how they put every dollar towards, whether it's research. It's I believe like the latest number is $1.8 billion that have gone towards research. This is clinical trials.
In the
this
US?
is medication. Correct.
In the U.S., $1.8 billion.
Wow. I mean, they are the cutting edge for blood cancer research, hands down.
Wow.
And I always get so inspired when I see like on their Instagram about like what the next like trial they're involved in. One thing too they're like really focused on right now is pediatric treatment, because like what I endured as an adult is completely different than what a child goes through, and like they have to be catered to in such a different way based on their body, based on just a host of things specific to their age group. And so they have a special program that they're working to raise $175 million right now for pediatrics specifically. And so like that's incredible. The patient advocate and support, so all the different peer-to-peer support groups that they help navigate and set up, all the resources that they're sending out to people, notebooks, pens, documents on anything specific that you're wondering about from a financial standpoint, from the actual disease standpoint. And then their policy and advocacy department, where they're going and working with the government officials on making blood cancer medications and trials like available to the masses, or affordable, or if someone has to take time off of work, that, you know, it's approved and okay to do that based on the plan, the program that they're going through. They just use every dollar to really help anyone, and not only just the patient, it's the families too. And I really talk about that a lot, because as much as it's the person going through the situation, it is the caregivers and it is the family,
for sure.
And they need just as much support and guidance too, because their life changes overnight as well. And so Leukemia and Lymphoma Society just has those information specialists that guide them, check in with them. They'll call you back, like, and say, oh, hey, you know I sent this, or do you have any other questions, or just to even be a listening ear. Sometimes that too is like all somebody needs is just to say, this is how I'm feeling, you know, and then they can provide guidance back. So they're really amazing.
So again, I understand nothing about this LLS, and I know American Cancer Society is also an organization. Are they linked, or are they a part of each other? Are they separate? Like, how do they work together? Do you know? Right.
And I did reach out to American Cancer Society too. They are two separate organizations. I know they have similar resources available depending on what you're going through, but they can help as well. When it's something specific, though, that you know you have, like leukemia and lymphoma, they're just so much more dialed in, because they know that disease so much more intricately, that's just the best route to go in that way.
Okay. Well, wonderful. Thanks for enlightening me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and us, everybody that's watching. So to wrap this up, I would like for you to look at your camera over there.
This one? Okay.
Yes, and I would like for you to talk to the listeners, the viewers, and make an appeal for donation or volunteer, and just to have people engage and participating in the LLS.
Yes. So first of all, thank you so much for listening. Really, really appreciate your time. If you or anyone you know has blood cancer, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is the greatest organization that is helping those in need. I can just speak personally, someone that has been laying in a hospital bed, unable to do anything, being so sick, not sure what my future had in store, and knowing that there are people out there like you that are wanting to make a difference is an absolute dream come true. And you're doing something for someone that can never repay you. And that is the greatest gift that you can give, I personally think, as a human. So if you have the time, whether that's even being a listening ear to someone, whether that's volunteering for the cause, maybe it's even getting involved from like a government standpoint on pushing for policy and advocacy for those that, you know, don't have the fight in them and who are unable to do that right now, given the situation that they're in with their disease, that is truly, truly so beyond appreciated. So thank you for even considering it. We hope that you'll get involved. And if you have any questions, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, the information specialists are absolutely available to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to donate, our magazines they have a QR code in certain pages, and you can just scan. Takes you right to the donation area. Go and give your money. LLS needs you and your help. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for next episodes. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe this one. Till next time. Thank you.